no.
Landlord ne tenant na.
But me share my own yes ejuma no. So abrabọ no de oba. Ade ba ko Bible mu. E ma himfu bi mu giye we ni ade aye mbisiafo. So wanye careful baby girls no. Obi di ni bi betwe abofom. Nti ya na why careful. Na Sunday bia sorry no so kwa. The sofo no be kan na wati. Eno a Church of the Lord brother would na me to one am pompae. Nti pastor Ike ni bishop aje mu me cho mu pa. Nti Maestro ya no omuhuzi omuzu look sharp.
No friend me ma ya we say no mapon a you feel.
Oh, okay. The Maestro.
Oh, landlord.
The next 20 minutes you there.
Landlord mami. Whereas the patch of three. Now the main ejuma kakre bi tactical.
Family ejuma tactical.
I think say enra match between told you that is Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. But I'm not going to dwell about the tactical analysis about this particular match. But then I think say there is a certain things I have also Asia, and I think say I will need to touch on that. But Manchester United, the problems going through in Manchester United now, I think say it has become a poised chalice and also a perennial trap for most of the young managers at Ombefa Football Club.
I only yeah, bro, from those. Yeah, from bread chica.
Oh, Chama,
yeah, from bread chica. Why? When you
saw
bro for Papa, they are from bread chica. Why, Maestro?
The job at Manchester United.
I did a job at Maestro.
Manchester United. Edding. It's right now to say, Obi a football coach. Nasa Oye, young and upcoming. To say Robin Amarin, Eric Ten Hag, Crampo the AFC Ayas. No, I never be brave or honor. So before Manchester, and also our coaches in before Manchester, Son Heung-min, and he is a star boy in Asia. When you go to Asia, right now they are star boy in the poster boy or representing the continent of Asia. I mean Son Heung-min.
Oh, okay.
But baby, you free no in South Korea, and South Korea and North Korea were that kind of unsettled dispute. Shall say way back in 1910s, and this kind of unsettled dispute, has actually glanced through the English Premiership, talking about most of these South Korean players are Omo. So currently, as we speak, so Boremo North Korea. That's here about the English Premiership. That's Tottenham Hotspur matches. The side of Yuan Qinghan, and also game of Bodema or Orange Wanderers or Liverpool. Now check about Kim Young, also the Bodema the side of Brentford. It will be very difficult for most of these players and as most of these guys from North Korea to actually telecast these kind of matches. Or North Korea. Do you know why? Because there has been a certain ban of North Korea. Now there is a particular television in Korea called the Korean Central Television, and this is the flag of North Korea and South Korea. This is the man Kim Young, and he has placed a particular ban on most of the matches in English Premiership, containing Brentford, containing Wolverhampton Wanderers, and containing Tottenham Hotspur. Because of the unsettling dispute between the North Korea and South Korea, it has actually transpired into the football nature because of most of these matches North Korea, they are having 3 best players currently in the English Premiership, and the moment those kind of matches, North Korea, the players will overshadow the country, and the North Koreans will start to love these South Korean players because they don't want anything which is equal to South Korean people, because Omu Riveri, it translated go back in those times of days. Now, with him, we are prohibiting most of these particular censorship. Korea. Now, the Air Coast Korea and say he doesn't want anything from South Korea to actually enter North Korea. It is here about English Premiership. That's a Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. Obe making sure say the live broadcast telecast because North Korea and live. It will be after the match, not on edit. Most of the scenes are Son Heung-min and so now there's North Korean people will watch these kind of matches.
I might show me about the in a day say about say bobo no na son eshigwa za go ni
in North Korea.
How?
Because of that kind of rifting between the North Korea and the South Korea. He doesn't want anything about South Korea to actually replenish our North Korea countering him. So this is the man, and then he's doing everything possible to eradicate certain images are arriving around the side of South Korea. But So to translate it back in the days, this is the map of this Asian continent. And in Suaisha, this land in Hueshiano is called the Sea of Japan. And it's actually on the peninsular land. It can't be a peninsula. It's a land that it is actually covered by water. And the North Korean and South Korean is a peninsular land which is actually divided into North and South. I shall say 1950s. Straight to the north, boundary is set up to China. Straight to the south, boundary is set up to Japan. But gone are the days, tracing back to 1910s, Japan ever conquer the Korean as a peninsular land.
Oh, okay.
And they were able to assimilate a lot of things in Korea. But right before Japan, for Babe conquer the side of Korea, no, they see and they say, so trace back in AD 632, there was these three kingdoms that rise here in Korea. You talk about the Gideon kingdom, talk about the Biek kingdom, and then the Silal kingdom. These were the three kingdoms. But as time goes on, the Goguryeo, they were part of the North Korean people. They comes in with a great force, and they are ruthless people. And those people no more occupy the South Korean, where the Biek and the Silal people. But as time goes on, the Goguryeo people overtake the Silal and the Biek people who were occupying the South Korean territory. So the entire country called Korea, before they were called the Goguryeo, and suddenly they renamed in the late 1950s to be called Korea. And during those times in 1910s, before the Second World War, and Japan for invaded the side of the Korean as a republic country. When they invaded the country, there were these kind of people, nobody came back so that they were called the agonists. The agonists no omote, Rome, free Rome, echo Spain, or go to Spain, we don't Valencia. And Valencia, one of the things that they were doing, they said, because a Muslim from the take over in Spain, they wanted to go there and then preach the gospel of God to those people. So the agonist people were staying in Korea. But in Japan, from the take Korea at that time, they wanted to culturally assimilate a lot of things in the country. That's a cultural assimilation. It is when you actually change the total some way of life of a group of people, especially their food, especially their tools, their language, everything. So they wanted to have their influence. The Japanese culture wanted to have their influence over South Korea and North Korea. And they succeeded. But then it ended in 1950s after the Second World War. But the amount of currency between the North Korean and the South Korean. The Russian people is here. They are here. So Russia and North Korea and during those times, we had the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. And the Eastern Bloc, where people are, they were actually in line with the Russian, that's the Soviet Union. And the Western Bloc people too were people who were in line with the Americans. That was the reason why Dr. Kwame Nkrumah formed the non-aligned movement. Just to make sure joining either the Eastern Bloc or the Western Bloc. But when it became so difficult for the South Koreans, and I said the Korean as a whole country, the Russians needed to invade, because at that time Japan only free Korea or Akomukrom, because they are not, they are captives anymore. They are going back to their hometown called Japan. And Russian people needed to invade in Korea. And to invade in Korea the Americans also needed to invade. To invade and the North Korean people had their access to the Russians, and the South Korean people also had their access to the US people. But South have for Omunia the access to the US people. The Japan as a country supported the South Koreans. But during those times, the North Koreans invaded in the South Korea, and it was a total disaster. They killed a lot of people in South Korea. It took the intervention of Japan and the US people to save South Korea from the invasion of North Korea. Because through communism. Communism is about totalism. While South Korea also shares some development country through capitalism. That is where private enterprises will have their access to do their things from their own world. That was the South Korean as a republic. So during those times, that recognition from North Korea and South Korea, during back in 1950s. And currently, as we speak, Kim Jong was setting up a new tenor. Yuk-sul is a president of South Korea currently as we speak, and he wanted to facilitate peace peaceful coexistence between North Korea and South Korea currently as we speak. But Enra, and I say December Nimono, in Korea by and say Kim Jong about that peaceful coexistence. Now, the boundary line are set up between the North Korean and the South Korean. So if the South Koreans are not careful, the North Koreans are actually having their way to easily penetrate into South Korea. By US and Japan for also this particular border in South Korea. So with that need to know, Kim Jong doesn't want anything about South Koreans to actually invade into North Korea. So during those times in Tokwane and those people now, both the Republic of North Korea, the Democratic Republic of North Korea and the Republic of South Korea, no, these are the people. And Sana Etmiko Sidema, South Korea. So a honomono in Tokwane or honomono, and Yen and Nebesha said they're free, a way back into an Enra. Manchester United playing against Tottenham Hotspur. Landlord, Yentimian showcase that particular match, Korea Central Television, North Korea, because of say that rift between the North Korea and South Korea, it is still there. And he doesn't want anything about South Korea to actually be aired, North Korea. But in a big match, Barcelona. And Hansi Flick is solely going to be the coach of Betimi Akami back because currently, sorry, the league log or La Liga now. Barcelona, so moving on their game against rival Licana, they can easily come on top of the table. And it will be a good responsibility for Hansi Flick to actually do that job for FC Barcelona. But this season, Flick are changing the total tactics of Barcelona because Johan Cruyff believes in those kind of beautiful football. Pep Guardiola Barcelona or be advancing that beautiful football of Johan Cruyff. The philosophy in the book of Tradima Barcelona, no, or by inventing the tiki-taka, making sure that Barcelona will become that stable football who will play beautiful football at hand. But this man came, used the Gengen system of football, bought the high line defensive system, bought the high pressing, bought the cons and the pros pressing, everything about pressing. This man has actually invented it in FC Barcelona, and he's going to pull up against rival Licano. But this is how Papa said Hansi Flick is setting up the FC Barcelona. Obo in the 4-3-3 grand style, but making sure so Obo in the 4-3-3 grand style now. Obo setting up in a high line defensive setup. The two center back, that's Inigo Martinez and Paul Kubasi, will be that central defender. So coming up through the centric midfield of that particular opponent. No pushing the opponent on half of their pack. And so in the midfield, so we make it that particular high line defensive setup now. What they will do is say they will form the triangular square in the midfield just to block some of the initial passes that opponents initiated into the midfield. So this is how they form this kind of, the triangular square. This is Papa, a friend said, Frankie de Jong. He will try to come in, sit in deep, and make sure so Betty receive the ball from either Inigo Martinez or Paul Kubasi over here as a central midfielders. Try to make sure so be located either Pedri or Dani Olmo in this kind of attacking threat of FC Barcelona.
Oh, okay. But
in the width movement of as an invented midfielders now, it will slowly become Papa Alejandro Badi, who will be playing at the left fullback position in FC Barcelona fullback column. Then Jules Koundé will become the right fullback on be pushing in the wide area just to actually make sure so on Pini the fullbacks or more opponent. That's Rayo Vallecano or more fullbacks or more opponents. So they coming up against FC Barcelona. This is how they set up in a high build-up defensive shape, making sure say they will pin up and making sure say most of these strikers now move into the attacking terrains or committing a lot of offsides against Omwanka Samho. So when you check over here into the attacking threat, there is Rafinha and that is Papa Efense Lamine Yamal. They are always in line. The moment Robert Lewandowski beats Masopasi over the center backs of the opponents, they can easily create offside. That is the reason why when you're playing against Barcelona, it is very difficult for them to commit offside against the opponent. So against Real Madrid Football Club, the La Liga first leg, they didn't understand the reason why Kylian Mbappe was always in the trap of offside. It is something that Papa and Hansi Flick, Osuya, or most of these boys now, the training of FC Barcelona, making sure that when they come onto the field, they will experiment most of these things on the field of play. So over here, Robert Lewandowski will lead the attacking threat, making sure that he will go in line with the last man sweeper of that particular opponent, making sure that the moment either Lamine Yamal or Rafinha will give a lot of incisive passes to the attacking threat, he will be there to actually push that particular ball into the net of FC Barcelona. But Barca, This is another picture of Barcelona. And when Barca is actually starting their transitioning, this is Barca. We El Paco Barsi. This is Papa, your friend said Alejandro Bade, and this is Jules Koundé. The moment that Jules Koundé beats Mabanenim in the right full back position, no, meaning say the deep line playmaker in the sense of either Pedri or Gavi or Nubej na Hanomono, he will come in just to solicit for the ball. Papa, your friend said Jules Koundé de Bemano.
Okay.
The moment Obaye Sano, he tried to expand the porosity nature of the midfield of the opponent. So over here against Valencia, you could easily imagine that Valencia was actually dominating numerically in the central midfield. They're having 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the centric midfield. That's about 5 players, 6 players or so. And they needed to expand it. The moment Obaye expanded, Jules Koundé will get the ball and will try to start his transition, not because of, say, they will actually get a long pass into the attacking third. But then Jules Koundé will start the ball in terms of Obe starting with a short display passes, starting from Papa, defensive Gavi or Pedri, coming in, sitting in deep just to receive the ball. And when it becomes like that, Alejandro Bade will actually widen up that particular defensive line position for FC Barcelona. When it becomes like this, Barca will control the ball, and they will always become, most of these teams they will control the ball and dominate in the midfield. But Alejandro Bade will come out wide. There is Ferran Torres, there is Robert Lewandowski, and other players. When Barca is starting their transition, because Alejandro Bade is always close to Lamine Yamal, Lamine Yamal will try to actually become an auxiliary number 10, coming in to support Robert Lewandowski. But Alejandro Bade over here will come in, making sure so Bema a lot of incisive pass into the attacking third. When they actually open up, both from the fullbacks, Ahan Moshe, the side of Jules Koundé, also open up. Check about the numbers of players Metro into the attacking third of Valencia. You can easily imagine, say, this time around, Hansi Flick is actually relating to the numerical superiority into the attacking third. So look at the number of attackers, somewhere 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players as against about 4 players into the defensive structure of Valencia. And when it becomes like that, the numerical superiority is always become, say, mount a lot of pressure into the attacking system. But boss, here, say even Krabasa air transition now. That's so even Krabomo go into the attacking third. They actually form one particular tactical system in attacking third called the risk-averse action. The risk-averse action, they say, they can easily attack you in numerical superiority, but then you as the opponent, the moment Abenya Bona and make a lot of long passes, Barca will use a lot of tactical low block to actually get most of these passes from you. So in terms of the high build-up, they actually use the high defensive line. When they are attacking, they use the risk-averse action, and when they are actually defending, they will use the low block system. This is the picture of the low block system. Over here, the central defenders will sit in deep, and they will widen up their space. Over here is Papa, your friend said, Chesney. He will try to be the main sweeper who will become an auxiliary defender in the central midfield of FC Barcelona, who will try to actually initiate the progression of ball from the defensive structure into the attacking third. But boss, when it becomes like this, Barca will always have a way to recover the ball from the opponent. Enzo Maresca initiated the 3 seconds ball. Pep Guardiola initiated the 6 seconds ball ruling principle in Manchester City. To Manchester City, when you are dominating within a moment of 6 seconds, Pep Guardiola retrieve ball within the minute of 6 seconds. But over here, as we speak, Flick initiating any rule called 3 seconds or 6 seconds, but then we're initiating a particular rectangular square in the midfield just to always retrieve the ball back. After some Barca 4 players between Lusu Bono, they will form the rectangular square in the midfield just to retrieve their balls back. And that is how they do their things. But yes, over here, we have something called pocket space. The pocket space actually depends on the opponent, that the defensive structure and the deep line playmaking structure. When you look at this particular picture, you can see some rectangle, and this is the pocket spaces. Baby, Barca initiate a lot of pocket space in nature. Say the attacking that's the creative or the typical number 10 in the sense of Danny Obu or Rafinha coming in from the left flanks into the middle of this particular attacking third. The team they will find the pocket space. We are now go to me back at the FC Barcelona.
Wow. Maestro, Inya goes to the partner.
Oh yes, Barca will win.
Barca
will win.
And it will Kenya match be Madrid near the Tiku Madrid for Nama.
Oh yes, sir. Barca will need to win this. Be a Madrid fan. But Barca would need to win this match just to glance their hope of becoming in the number one top spot of the La Liga. But boss, mami, 1 second pay. This is Papa say Arne Slot.
Yeah.
Arne Slot, Abba. There was a system. Anna Liverpool. Again club beating Beshishedema Liverpool. It was the Gengen press system of football. It became an identity, and right now it has become an institution for the side of Liverpool Football Club. And this season, he has kept about 97 winning streak percentage for the side of Liverpool Football Club. But they told him a team at Paso. We share last over the weekends. Other competition of Lucia and the slot in team and BBA. But against the Wolverhampton Wanderers, he played the 4-3 action, the 4-2-3-1 action, making sure the side of Liverpool Football Club will actually triumph over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Looking at the game of boy against Wolverhampton, Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah giving him that close goods for the side of Liverpool Football Club. But what it means, they said, the midfield, how this man has been able to organize the midfield very well for Liverpool, has been superb. You get the likes of Ryan Gravenberch, Dominic Soboslai, and you get Papa Jose McAllister over there as the three-centric midfielders, Omubo, Ediama, and his lot. Ryan Gravenberch is not a stable midfielder. They tell you to Wataru Endo. They say Wataru Endo playing the Gengen Princeton of football, and that's the high Princeton of football. No, Wataru Endo cannot endure a lot of passes during pressure abanoso. But Ryan Gravenberch can easily do the things around the centric midfield, and he's not stable. So this man is actually doing something magic for Liverpool. Yeah, Arsenal is coming up. Arsenal is coming up. Say your both 6 matches, and I said 7 matches to the end of the season now. And a bit magic to say Arne Slot can easily win the league.
Mate, me da se pa ne mo ahoho do do na wechi. Ma hu ze ne oin. Aso